Now I'm going to do my best to talk as best I can. Still having some issues, but you'll see it. I'm having to really work the words out, so bear with me. We're going to do the second half of her Men in Black that I did last week, or the last time, the week before. Sorry I missed you guys, but I had a passing, then kind of overdid it. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Like I said, just bear with me. Hello, Vixen, Nightmare, Latro, Mike J. What's up, sir? Mr. Behold, you can always say it here. Don't be afraid to come in and use that here. Me and Gemma miss it. Thunder and lightning. But anyways, we're good. I'm good. I hope everybody's had a good week so far and having a good weekend. It is Labor Day, so hopefully a lot of you got your 3-day weekend. Mike, do you get a 4-day weekend? We used to. So are you getting a 4-day weekend out of this? Yeah, I'm feeling a little better. I may steam out verbally, so just bear with me. I may end up showing 2 videos tonight because I missed you guys, and just watching in chat Friday and tonight makes me feel a little better. I know you were asked to tone it down, but that's Pixie. That's not here. That's not with Gemma. Okay? I appreciate you being respectful of Miss Pixie. That's cool. But when you come in here, you be yourself, man. You don't have to tone it down for us. Just, be careful what you say, of course. And we're all good here. So don't even worry about it. Bless Miss Pixie. She's a good woman. I appreciate you being respectful of her. So you're all good, sir. Unless Gemma said something, but I don't think she said anything. She misses it. I know it's just for fun, so don't worry about it, Mike. Like I said, you're good here. Had a source, I had. Well, we didn't really have a funeral for him. They just kind of had to get together. And we're going to do that next week, so. And then, like I said, I was down. I mean, I'm lucky I'm talking this good because he said it probably take a while. So, and Edna, hello. I didn't even have to say your name 3 times, dear. Hello, and I hope you're well, my dear. Missed you Friday. Missed a lot of people Friday, but that's okay. I'm glad you came and visited me. Sweet of you. What happened, Ghosty? Had a friend who passed away last Saturday, so that's why I wasn't on last Saturday night. In fact, it was just a couple hours right before stream. And then also those days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, I spent the entire days working out in the heat. I was taking breaks and stuff, but I pushed it a little hard. Got heat sickness really bad, and then it made my tremors. And when my tremors get real bad, it affects my voice. I cramp up. I start doing this stuff, and it's not pleasant. So I had to just kind of step back. I was feeling much better. Went and had to get a couple shots Friday, and that's why I was able to do the show. I wouldn't miss Gemma. But I'm good. I mean, during the whole thing, I had a good attitude, so you really can't get mad. I can't get mad. I get frustrated, but I don't get mad. Hey, it's part of my life. We all are. Yeah. So we get it. But I know everybody had the holiday weekend. Much I have referred. Aww. Well, big hugs, lots of love, bud. Really, honestly, and to the family. A lot of love. I just found out a relative of mine, actually a nephew, has got cancer. So we need a shot. Yeah, I could use one right. I could have used it last night. It was after stream last night, Friday night. I was feeling it a little bit. So, but I had to be here. I mean, she kind of bummed when she realized there was nothing there for a week, and I was like, you knew. but she understands. She was real good about it. So, and this should be cleared up air pretty soon. Hopefully by Wednesday. Things may change, so be prepared for schedule changing. But yeah, Latra, my big hug for you, bud, and the family. I'll keep you guys in my prayers. But it's good to see everybody. I hope everybody is doing good. Even with the sad news, you make the best of it. The guy, today, the guy turned me into a clairvoyant. He offered me a shot. Yeah, I'll do it too. It's been a while. Last time I did tequila was my bachelor party. They made me do a shot for everybody who walked in the door. And of course, they held like 10 people outside the door. So I had to take 10 shots in a row. And that was it for me. I was talking to God and the porcelain God. It's gluten-free from Sweden. Ooh, that's interesting. Gluten-free. I'm a vodka guy. I like a lot of drinks mixed with vodka. So I don't drink like I used to. And I really wasn't a big drinker. I had my share of beer for a while, only because I was one of the only people in high school that could buy it. But that didn't last a long time. I like dark beer and amber beer. I like some Japanese stuff. Tater vodka. I've had my share of tater vodka. Yes, I have. I have a friend at high school that makes some of the best tater vodka I've ever had. I think he even still makes it today. Wow, it's been a bad week for everyone. It's been a rough week, but as Gemma would say, what is that? No, I can't even say it. Whatever it is, I can't even spit it out. And what is it when you have that moment in Star Wars? Anyways, yeah, I think everybody's been through. I mean, I had a good. You ask the guys around the house, they were happy. I couldn't talk for like 2.5 days. I mean, they enjoyed that. But we all had a good laugh. I mean, what can I do? It happens. I pushed myself a little too hard. But that's all right. I don't like having limitations. It ain't going to stop. Wow, it's been my little sister had serious. Oh, geez. And I need all that love sent to you. A little boy named Rylan. We'll do, Edna. We will do that. I can't drink like I used. No, I've always, like I said, I drink my share of beer. I was always like the mixed drinks, but pretty much now I'll go out with the guys, have one drink, then I'm drinking coffee or water. We had a group of Mexican, blacks, Asians, and of course whites. We all got along just fine. Yeah, why not? It never hurts to have one once in a while. I mean, I still have one once in a while. Oh no. I had to go to the hospital Friday, but not like that. My neurologist, his office is in the hospital, so they gave me a thing I had a virus. I actually had what had happened was I caught a virus a while ago, and we thought it was gone. I started working out in the heat, and I mean, there was a couple of days it got to 100 here. And that and the humidity, I shouldn't have been out, but I was out. I was taking breaks. I thought I'd be okay. But it was all day from morning to night. And I'd come in and take about a half hour break. I figured I'm good. And by the end of the day, I was feeling it. But by Tuesday night, it was a mistake. And I was feeling full force Wednesday. It happens. I pushed myself. So what happened was I got sick from heat sickness. It kicked off the virus because I was stirring around dust and dirt. They just gave me a good antibiotic, shot me up a couple times, and then gave me something to help relax the tremors. That will probably take a little while. Sometimes a short shot works in one day. Sometimes it takes a couple. This time it seems to be taking a couple. Yeah, we had moonshine in our family too. And you got some in your freezer. That's good stuff. I haven't had any good moonshine for a while. I bet if I called Eddie, not my wife's ex-wife's husband, but I had a friend at school, Eddie. He's the one that the government wanted by the end of the school year for work. That's a long story in itself. But anyways, yeah, because you don't listen to your and Gemma's the same thing. But he's the one that makes the vodka. I bet if I could get a hold of him, he'd give me some. I know he still makes it. But it would last me months. My favorite rum. I don't mind a good rum. Oh, I mean, my dog is named Bucka. There you go. Yeah, I don't listen to. Sorry for yeah, and I don't listen to anybody. Doctor yelled at me too. I said, dude, I got work to do. I got things to do. This body ain't got time to rest. I ain't got time to bleed. I got too many things to get done. Life's too short. Get it done. And that's the way I think. I'm rambling. I've been sick from oh man, and it sucks. It's been a while. I mean, it's been a while since the heat actually took me down. And it just flared up everything. Mistake on me. I admit, on me. So I mean, we're going tomorrow for the ex and her hubby. Her hubby thinks the world of my pop, so we're going to go over there at 1. Do Ayla's birthday. That's one of my granddaughters. That was last weekend, and then Labor Day family. So we're gonna go hang out. It's supposed to be fairly decent that day tomorrow, so hopefully we can enjoy it. It's hard to beat some great groups. I have a friend that was a wild turkey guy. Yeah, I do, Edna. I do stuff. I do actually. Here's the thing: I do all that while I'm on the go because I'm always moving. But I stop and smell the roses just because I don't actually stop. Doesn't mean I'm not enjoying them. I don't worry about the smell. I know you're working to get yours back. You'll get yours. The Grey Goose it's not bad stuff. No. Yeah, I was staying straight and hydrated. That was the thing. It just got so humid, so hot, and we've had rain all around us, but none here, which is really screwed up. I've watched rain go completely around us, both ways around us, and we've got nothing, and it sucks here right now. I mean, I'd rather be in Arizona. At least it's dry heat. Doesn't suck the life out of you as soon as you walk out the door. I like Storley. Oh, that's good stuff too. It trashes you with the humidity. It does. It really does. That's one thing I hate about the East. Period. I mean, I had it. It was the meds, but the taste, but it's not back. I think I lack oxygen. You probably did, and it will come back. And if it film, your senses are probably already starting to adjust to it now. So you guys talk about drinking, me getting sick. And what time we got? I'll probably start her video at 12:30, so we got 10 minutes. So folks who are in and not gabbing, thank you for coming in and dealing with me. As you can tell, I look like I've been through some. It's been a month. I think I'll take these off. Relax a little bit because we'll all test normal. They'll be okay. You may get it. You may get it back. Ooh, great Calder and Orson Mules. I used to, but I just found it just got old. Being black. Yeah, there you go. That sounds about right. Lotro. Cape Codder. I was gonna say Babe Codder. Is that new? Something to offer. Yeah, I didn't, just sat. And it was like, why keep it so? I have a friend that was a drinker. I just gave everything to him. My son keeps a bottle of some really good stuff. I don't know what he buys, but it's pretty tasty whiskey. He likes his whiskey. He says does a shot before bed. So yeah, and he's old enough. I've been comforting people all week. I think I've helped it. You probably haven't. It's been a rough one for a long time. That beat me up. Yep. I think a long time ago they did a commercial like that. I don't know why that stuck in my head. Helps you sleep. Yeah, it does. I had a grandmother. Actually, my mom's aunt. She was actually she raised mom. Anyways, she drank a shot of sherry every night before she went to bed. At least as long as I can remember. But they've also caught her snipping that cough syrup in the day because that stuff was strong. They didn't have the regulations they do now. I mean, now you got to go when you ask for something strong, you got to sign a voucher saying you're not going to make illegal drugs. If men are trying to convince that UFOs aren't real, they aren't doing a very good job. Isn't that the truth? They're everywhere now. But then again, I don't care how many people, everybody's got a phone. You're going to start catching more now stuff. Everybody's got a walking camera. Majority of people have a camera on them. So you're going to see more. But logically, every time UFOs or weird stuff has happened and it's becoming really, everybody's seeing them. It's everywhere. It's usually because of the state of the world. It's sometimes I think the joke is legit and we are just a reality show. They know things are heating up here, so they're all coming to hang out to see what happens. Been some pretty drastic stuff going on. Everything, the phone rings. It's crazy. But not from you. But see, that's the thing. And despite me running myself on the ground, you asked the guys here. I've been in a good mood. There was the Wednesday night. I was a little frustrated because I wanted to do the show. Just do it. Do it. It's just no way. My typing's way. Everybody's typing's way. Yeah, I'm gonna do the second Men in Black she's ever done. Hopefully, I can stay and chat while it plays. It's the part 2, 3 more real memoir. It's 25, about 26 minutes long. Actually, less than that because I cut out all the end stuff. So I'm going to have to probably be careful because I'm acting up on YouTube. So let's see. We'll start that here in a little bit. Now, as far as I know, I will be here Wednesday for spooky time. I've got some stories, some recent stuff I'm going to talk about. Yes, a full moon is coming up soon. Let me go show up on my thing. One second. The full moon is on the 19th. Well, hello, Blue Crossroads. How you doing? So I believe the 19th is the full moon. I could be wrong. I hope it, but yeah, we'll start that here in a little bit. Yeah, like I said, just bear with me. Making sure everything's lined up here. Okay. And I'll start that in about 3 minutes. Yeah, Men in Black. Well, I'm going to show Gemma's second video she ever did on Men in Black tonight. I believe she actually started going to the full camera. A couple of them we saw she was still using her phone. So we'll start that here. And hopefully I can stay in chat. If I get quiet, just let me know so I can talk afterwards. And why not go ahead and start it? You guys can chat it up, enjoy yourselves. And if I can stay in chat, I will, as long as it doesn't start to freeze. And let me get everything set up here. So it's going to look good. Okay. Let me get you on here. Get it on here. Go. And these are just 3 stories. And about, well, without me cutting out a little bit of the end, it'll be about 24 minutes. Enjoy, folks. Thank you for showing up. Enjoy the classic Gemma. And let me adjust me and give you more space. And you ready? Here we go. And I'll try to talk to you through this on chat. All right. And
hey guys, welcome back to my channel.
Let me know if
you're here. Just right. Welcome. My name is GemmaJadeYT.
Sound good?
Today, we are going to be doing a part 2 of the Men in Black series. The reason I chose to do another part to the Men in Black series is because I just got done with the 3-parter, The Disappearance of Eric Franks. I just got done with Keeslyn Roberts and Caleb Smith, which, if you saw that video, I'll put it up here, really kind of got to me. And it's just, I need a little break. So the next couple of videos are going to be a little less heavy. I have a conspiracy theory video coming up very soon that I'm working on now. I have my January favorites coming up. So just going to take a little break for about a week or so before we get back into the heavy. I hope you guys don't mind. And I hope you.
I think it's her video. She had a couple videos where her sounds, if you watch some of her videos, some of her sound is really low. So you may have to turn yours up because I've got everything cranked as high as I can go. So you may have to turn it up a little more louder than normal. And go back.
You guys will continue to stop in and hanging out and having fun with me. Without further ado, let's jump right into the real Men in Black. Now, as you guys know, I'm not talking about the Will Smith and
Yeah,
Tommy
it's her
Lee Jones
sound.
type
So
Men in
you
Black.
may have to crank
Oh
it up.
no. I'm talking about these creepy, dark clad, kind of black sunglasses, pasty plastic looking skin, sometimes lipstick mouthed, communicating through telepathy, no hair on their entire bodies, creepy AF, alien government agents, completely made up folktale, MIB. If you haven't seen part one, you can watch this one first because it's just a list of 3 stories of
Yeah, I
alleged
was going to
encounters
come
with
and
Men in
chat,
Black. I'll
but
put
I'm
it
not
right
going to be able
here.
to.
But
So
I
I'm
just
going
want
to
to tell you
back out of
guys
YouTube.
again that I am not a skeptic by any means about most things. Like, I don't even have healthy skepticism. I am completely naive and gullible. I know nothing about technology. So when I see photos or things like that that, have a ghost in it, most of the time I'll believe it. But then I do research it and find out that it's been debunked somehow normally, and I'm like super upset. But one of these stories today does involve a photo, which some people will say has been debunked, and most people say it has not. I'm not even going to get into the debunking. If you want to do that, you can research that on your own. This is just kind of a fun, let me give you the creeps type of video because I like messing around with you guys and I just think it will be fun. Just like I did last time, I am going to refresh your memory with what Wikipedia says the Men in Black are. Quote, the Men in Black are supposed men dressed in black suits who claim to be quasi-government agents who harass, threaten, or sometimes even assassinate UFO witnesses to keep them quiet about what they have seen. It is sometimes suggested that they are disguised aliens themselves. The term is also frequently used to describe mysterious men working for unknown organizations, as well as various branches of governments allegedly designed to protect secrets or perform other strange activities. The term is generic, used for any unusual, threatening, or strangely behaved individual whose appearance on the scene can be linked in some fashion with a UFO sighting. Several alleged Men in Black encounters have been reported by UFO researchers and enthusiasts, end quote. And just like with the BEK, the Black Eyed Kids phenomenon, I am going to refer to the people recounting or reporting these stories as victims. They are threatened a lot of the time. The only thing I can't seem to understand is, I mean, I'm not as scared of the Men in Black anymore as I am of the BEK or as I used to be because I've been going through all these stories and it's like, yeah, the MIB threaten these people and a lot of the time they will destroy their evidence and they never talk about the encounter again and they never talk about their evidence again for a few years. But even if it's a number of years, I mean, the MIB aren't very effective at keeping themselves secret or the information, you know, um, unknown because they never follow through with their threat as best as I can find. I tried to find um, an encounter or a story of an encounter where the person actually got hurt, and I really can't find one. So I'm sure most of you who watch this channel are subscribed to at least one of the millions of channel on YouTube, like top 5 lists and top 10 lists, like top 10 McDonald's food ranked best to worst, or top 10 MIB encounter stories, right? Where they just skim the surface and give you just enough to keep you wanting more. Now, without being able to read any kind of full book on the MIB, it's hard for me to get a lot of information or a lot of in-depth into these alleged encounters. So again, a fun quick video. So if most of you are subscribed to one or more of those channels, you probably have seen the next photo and heard the story that goes with it. But here it is anyway, the Solway Firth photo. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Come at me, guys, and let me know if I am or not. So here's the story with this photo right here. A man named Jim Templeton was simply snapping a photo of his daughter while they were spending some time together at Berg Marsh, which overlooks Solway Firth. Solway Firth is an estuary that forms part of the border between England and Scotland, and Jim insists that this figure was not in his line of sight when he snapped the photo. It was just a picture plainly of his daughter sitting there. He also said there was nobody else around for that matter. His wife, who was there that day, was not anywhere near where the picture could be. And the only other people at the marsh or on the marshes that day were three elderly women who were sitting in a car that, again, was nowhere near where he snapped the photo. Jim explains that the mere existence of this photo brought along a very creepy visit from the men in black. It was May 23rd, 1964, and Jim at the time was a firefighter in Scotland. That was his profession. So, a credible person, right? We can almost all agree on that. Templeton stated, quote, I took 3 pictures of my daughter Elizabeth in a similar pose and was shocked when the middle picture came back from Kodak displaying what looks like a spaceman in the background, end quote. Now, in my opinion, I don't see a spaceman. Let me know what you think in the comments. I don't know what exactly it looks like, but it doesn't look like a spaceman to me. But moving on. I should mention that Jim did send the negative to Kodak, and they confirmed that there was nothing wrong or nothing done to the original print to kind of doctor it up to make it look like there was something or a spaceman in the picture standing behind his daughter. It is a really creepy photo to look at. And if he shot 3 different pictures, then it should be in all 3. It shouldn't have disappeared by the 3rd one. Do you know what I mean? It's like it kind of popped up, and I'm assuming he snapped the pictures in quick succession. Not as quick probably as we can today with a camera from 1964, but you guys get the picture. There was no Adobe Photoshop back then. I mean, how do you really doctor a photo from back then? I'm sure there are ways, but would the average person really have known how to do that back then? I don't know. Kodak states that there was nothing done to the negative, to the original. Remember, kids, this was back when you had to actually send your film out after you finished the roll to get developed and wait like a week to 10, sometimes 14 days to get the 22 or 24 pictures back. Free doubles most of the time on those 4x6s. Am I right? God, I'm old. So anyway, you send it out. You don't know what the pictures look like. There's no way of seeing the photo before you send it out. So you could end up with an entire roll of like terrible pictures. But I should do a scary story on disposable and old time photographs before digital, right? Jim states that just hours after getting the picture authenticated by Kodak, the local news, national news, and even international news were all interested in getting a peek at this photo because, again, Kodak had stated it wasn't shady, right? He said he turned it over to just one local news station, and it was kind of this snowball effect of all the other national, international, and local news sources getting in contact with him, like foaming at the mouth, right? Because this was a real weird photo. A spaceman just pops up, and again, I don't see a spaceman. I just can't let that go. He says within days of turning this photo over to the one news station, he was visited by 2 men dressed all in black. The men allegedly said they worked for the government, but refused to show any kind of identification and also refused to give their names, calling themselves Number 9 and Number 10. The men demanded and insisted to be taken to the exact spot where the photo was taken, so Templeton obliged. He drove in their car, a black vehicle, of course. I don't know the make or model. And when they got there, the MIB started asking him, like, what happened. And when Jim told them what happened, and they kept insisting, oh, you must have seen this spaceman or this image through the viewfinder while you were taking the picture. And they asked him so many times, and Jim was adamant, no, I didn't see anything except my daughter when I took this picture. The MIB apparently got really angry. We talked about their rage before, right? Like petulant children. And they stormed off in a fit, got into their car, and left him on the marshes. Like, just were like, F this guy. They were convinced he was lying about not having seen the image before the photo was developed. Crazy. How did he get home, you ask? Well, he had to walk. How far was it? I don't know. Like I said, this is not the first alleged encounter where the men in black displayed such petulant behavior and rage. They never show emotion on their face. Like I said, sometimes their lips like don't even look like they exist, and it just looks like there's red lipstick drawn in. like where lips should be. And I laugh when I think of this because, I mean, picture that image in your head, right? So this is not the first time they've gotten thrown their little temper tantrums. So the next part I put in here because I'm hoping you guys can explain to me what it means, because I had no idea. About a week after the photo made all these headlines and all these different news outlets, Jim was contacted by two employees at a missile launch pad in Australia. These employees said that they had to stop the missile launch when figures, two spaceman figures that looked exactly like the one that were seen in his daughter's photo were seen on security footage. But when they went to look for them, when the security guards went to look for these two figures, these two spacemen, there was nobody there where the security cameras showed these people were. It's like they vanished. Are we to believe cameras from the 1960s have a view range of 20 miles? Because that's how far away this missile launch site was from Solway Firth. But I just don't understand, like, what is the meaning of this? Are they trying to just corroborate that there were these spacemen running around that day? Oh, it was the same exact day that Jim had taken his photo. Or are they trying to say that he accidentally caught something in the photo? I just don't know. So I know that's confusing, but if you understand what I'm saying and you know the answer to what that has to do with the photo, except maybe, like I said, it just came to me, maybe just cooperation, put it in the comments. We're going to move on to our next story. In November of 1961, a man named Paul Miller and three of his friends were out one night, returning home super late from a hunting trip in the town of Minnow, North Dakota. Now I'm going to put that on the screen because I do not know how to pronounce it. If you do, put it in the comments. So anyway, as these men were walking to their vehicle to head home, they reported seeing a, quote, huge luminous silo, end quote, first hovering above and then landing in a nearby field. The silo allegedly disappeared when it landed and then reappeared right before these three men's eyes. As if that wasn't enough, upon reappearing, the side of the silo opened up and two humanoid figures stepped out. Two aliens stepped out of the side of this randomly appearing and disappearing silo that was capable of hovering midair, defying gravity, a UFO, above a field. The three men freaked out, and obviously they had firearms on them because they were coming home from a hunting trip. And Jim discharged his firearm and did either two, it says in some reports, or three in others, shots right at the humanoids. Apparently, he had hit and injured at least one of the figures. I don't know how he knew that. I don't know if it screamed in pain. I don't know if he saw some kind of blood. It just says that he hit at least one of the figures with one of the bullets that he discharged from his hunting weapon. I guess the men got really freaked out. I mean, obviously, at this point, I would have been freaked out just by seeing the thing hover in the air, let alone the disappearing act and then aliens actually stepping out. I don't know if I would have shot at them. So I guess the men's fight or flight reflex finally kicked in, right? Paul shot at these humanoid creatures. He's pretty sure, he's convinced that he hit and wounded at least one of them. The men take off, run to the car as fast as they can. They are terrified. They jump in their vehicle and they take off down this desolate and mostly unlit rural road. This is when they report that they completely blacked out. And when they came to, remarkably, they were still driving on the same desolate, unlit, and rural road in the same direction. Only now they had come to the realization that 3 whole hours had passed and they have no recollection at all as to what happened in those 3 hours. It was like they were driving and then, you know, they blink and they're still in the exact same spot driving down the exact same road. And they still to this day don't know what happened. It should be noted that it only took about 20 to 30 minutes to get from the point where they saw the silo, where they saw the UFO, to their respective homes. The very next morning, though, Paul Miller decided, hey, the show must go on. He gets himself up, he gets himself to work on time. If that were me, I don't know if I'd leave the comfort of hiding under my blankets for months if I had just had this encounter, especially with like the 3-hour blackout. But he got up, he went to work on time. When he got to work, men dressed in black suits already at his job waiting for him. The men claimed to be, quote, government officials, end quote, and relentlessly questioned to the point of him feeling like he was being interrogated about his experienced the previous night. So, with this interrogation, Miller was completely terrified and taken aback. There had hardly been enough time from him getting home in the middle of the night from hunting and this experience, getting some sleep, getting up early in the morning to get ready and get to work on time. He hadn't told anybody about the encounter. And to the best of his knowledge, neither had the other people he had been with. So, how did these guys, these government officials, even know about the encounter in the first place? But Paul said they not only knew about the encounter, they knew everything about his life. Miller stated, quote, "They seem to know everything about me, where I worked, my name, everything else," end quote. He stayed silent about both his encounter with the UFO and his encounter with the MIB for years. He was afraid that these men would do something to his friends or family, or possibly even to him, if he didn't. And I guess he just got that vibe. I spoke in the last video about the MIB being able to communicate with each other telepathically. So maybe they were somehow purposely communicating something to his subconscious for him to stay quiet. Who knows? His story eventually got out, and there it was. Seems to follow the normal order of things when it comes to the MIB encounter. For our last encounter, I just want to say I was extremely surprised to see who was reporting this MIB visit. A friendly face most people know if you've ever watched SNL, especially back in the 70s and 80s, and also a face we've grown to love if we grew up watching 80s or 90s movies. I'm talking about our most favoritist, ghost busting conehead, Dan Aykroyd himself. Love me some Dan Aykroyd. Now, I'm already a believer. Can you imagine the possible damage to Dan Aykroyd's reputation, to his credibility, to his career, even for coming out with this? I mean, why would he do it if it didn't actually happen? Do you know what I mean? Like, he's famous, he's a celebrity, he's probably a millionaire. He works in movies, that's his job, his passion, his life, his livelihood. Why would he risk losing all that and losing his credibility just to make up a story? And again, his stories, just like the other ones, they're not like the BEKs where they give you this terrifying feeling where like you're afraid to go outside. It's just the creep factor of the whole thing. So here's what Dan Aykroyd reported about his MIB sighting. And again, it was quick and to the point. The MIBs don't play. I guess they don't have time to mess around. They're in, they give you the creepy ass vibes. They threaten you or give you thinly veiled threats. Sometimes they storm off in a petulant rage, and sometimes they just leave. I don't know. So here we go. Dan Aykroyd was on the set of a new paranormal show that he was involved in as an avid believer in UFO and paranormal phenomenon for pretty much his entire life, having had many experiences with both. According to reports, I don't personally know Dan Aykroyd. Dan says that while there was a short break in filming, he had stepped outside the studio to take a phone call from Britney Spears. That's my girl, by the way. I love Britney. So he steps outside to take this phone call from Britney Spears because she wanted to ask him if he would do Saturday Night Live with her. So after he hangs up the phone with Britney, he says that he looks up and notices that parked right across the street from him is a black Ford SUV. He said that a, quote, tall man, end quote, dressed in all black, black hat, black sunglasses, stepped out of the vehicle and started staring directly at him, totally mean mugging, totally grilling him in a very intimidating way. Now, I don't know how tall Dan Aykroyd is, but he specifically describes the man as tall. So was he abnormally tall, or was he just tall for someone Dan Aykroyd's height? Dan Aykroyd doesn't seem that tall to me. I don't know, guys. I don't know the answer to that. Aykroyd said that he turned away for like a split second to see if anyone else was seeing this, but he looked back right away because he was creeped out and nervous, right? This tall guy intimidatingly staring him down. But when he looked back in the blink of an eye, the vehicle and the man were gone. They had seemingly vanished into thin air. When he went back inside and returned to the set, Aykroyd was told that production was completely canceled and that he needed to stop filming right away because there was going to be no more show. He was never given any kind of explanation. He was just told, "We're done here." And that was it. The show never aired. What was he going to be talking about on that show? possibly UFO experiences. I've seen him talk about some paranormal experiences he had before. I just don't know. I believe that story is really credible too. And it's not because it's a celebrity, but it's because it's a celebrity. Like I said, think about everything he has to lose. I mean, he's Dan Aykroyd, so he's fine. But you guys get what I mean, right? There's a huge risk for loss there for him to come forward publicly with this story. And I watched the actual interview with him in it. So that is the end of our Men in Black. I know I made this super fun and not really that creepy, but that's what I tend to do with these stories because I just don't know. Like, I used to be such a believer in them, even while filming part one, a super believer, super terrified of them. And now it's like, it's not that I wouldn't be scared if I encountered them. Of course I would be. But the more I start to see, like, things I start to see that make sense that are like they never follow through because they're not doing a very good job at keeping themselves or aliens visiting Earth hidden, right? I also read that the United States government purposely put out stories about MIB and fake UFO stories, and I have to delve deeper. I did keep the article, so maybe I'll do a video on that. I hope you enjoyed this kind of light-hearted video and will give me a big thumbs up just for coming to hang out with me. Thank you so much. You guys know I love you. I really appreciate you and all the support that you always give me. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the Solway Firth photo. Let me know what you've heard about some of these stories. Have you heard them? Do you have your own MIB or UFO encounter? I have a couple subscriber stories sitting in my email, and I really have to check them because I might be able to do a story on that. I have BEK part 3 coming up too. That's going to be super awesome. Um, Guys, thanks for sticking with me. I know it's a total mixed bag on my channel, but I hope that's one of the things that you love about me and about my channel. I'm going to leave a link in the description box for my podcast that I do with Missing Persons and Mysteries and 13 Past Midnights. Steve Stockton.
And that's where we stop. We don't need to go back to the old stuff. Those days, I mean, you can probably still find those videos. I don't know if you can or not. Hold on here. There we go. And first, I agree. They do look like it does look like he's wearing a bee suit. Yeah, could be a portal when they blow things up with nukes. I guess that's what you were saying. Hello, Ron. How are you? Yes, Edna, I had a smoke. Actually, I've been really good. Yeah, Steve Stockton. He's passed now. I don't think Bob Lazar had MIB harassing him, but he did say there were incidences. Oh, I'm sure they knew he was. I'm sure there was a lot going on with him that he pretty much just come clean about everything. We'll see. Always stuff that's still hidden in the dark. So a photo was debunked. Recently, the person in the spaceship was the mother. Are we sure about that? Ron, if you got, an article or something you can point at, I would love to read that because I didn't know that. But it's highly possible. Like he was run off the road. Yeah. Well, there's some instances he talks about where some scary stuff went down. Yeah. Hold on one sec. And there we go. Clear my throat. I would wear a suit more often. I like wearing a suit. When I was a manager, I loved wearing my ties and stuff. Then I started working for Airwaves and be a printer. And it was nice to also dress dressed down. So, but yeah, you as long as I'm up for it, you'll see me in ties and stuff. I don't wear them just on Fridays. But yeah, I used to love those days too, where a guy left the house in a suit, or a casuals, what they call casual suits. Anytime you saw them dressed down was when they were working around the house or job they had. Those were good days. It's too crazy now. Yeah, I was actually thinking about playing another video since I'm not the best at talking right now. And if you guys want to keep talking, I can throw another video on, something classy on. And throw another one on if I can find another one that kind of links to that. I can do that. I like to make it worth everybody's while. Because my voice right now is, I just don't know how long it'll last. But I don't want to leave. I'm good, Ron. Not bad. Just had some technical issues, but I'm good. Here I'm good. But I'm good. Enjoying the weekend. When I go out, I wear a blazer. Yeah, I like that stuff. Button down shirt. Decent pair of, yeah. I'd go for that, Mike. He's another sharp dressed man, I take. Glad I was young. We got that. It's only a couple minutes till 1. Go. Must have beauty. Yeah. I know when we had to wear, I got used to doing it, wearing the suit and tie all the time, and going to church with Mom and Paul. They made us wear ties and dress up, and I just like doing it. I like ties. I don't know why, but I do. I used to have a ton of them, but a lot of them got trashed during the restaurant days. You trash ties real fast there in a restaurant. Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I wish they'd get them back, but they have to wait for certain alignments. That's why it's taking so long. My problem is I just hope they can keep getting them supplies because, it sucks. Yeah, so we got, I don't think, what, try to stay in older lines. I hope everybody has an enjoyable Sunday and this afternoon, I should say, Labor Day. Um, stuck. There you go. That big stuck in space. Hmm. Trying to find something. So you guys can keep talking. I don't want to call it yet. I'm trying to dress more conservative, like a good grandma, but I can't. Yep, I may be too, but I still like my suits. I did that. Hmm. Thinking. Yeah, it's actually it was mid 80s here, but man, the humidity was still killer. And like I said, everybody around us got rain, but we didn't get nothing. Nothing. Which really sucks because it's real dry here too. So, and I mean, as soon as you walk out, the moisture is being literally sucked right off of you, even with 85-degree weather. Now, I think yeah, right now we're 72, and I believe we're supposed to be in the 80s tomorrow too. Yeah, see, like right now all the rain is south of us. It's raining and it's all south of us. 80, 86 today, and then we drop back down in the 70s Monday. So Labor Day should be pretty good here. Yeah, I'm hoping that. Well, tomorrow we're going to a family cookout with the ex. She invited us over, and granddaughter's birthday last weekend, so they're going to do everything tomorrow. So it'll be a good day. Her hubby loves to cook on the grill too, so there might be a brisket there and some ribs and stuff. So that'll be tasty. We'll never knows with him. He had shish kebabs one day, and they were awesome. It was raining here, 55 at the moment. Yeah, we'll see when you guys are getting all the rain. We'll miss it. It literally went around us. I watched it come out of the west, northwest and west, and it just like separated around Columbus. And we're inside this outer belt, and it literally just went around us. We had a worst storm the other night. I mean, yeah, there I've missed some pretty. I mean, some of these storms, even these little ones, man, boom, they pack in a punch. Right? Yeah, Texas. Yeah, you guys have been hot, man. You folks up in Texas and up. Even my daughter was complaining. Man, it was like 101, 105 there the other day. Gemma was right. All our plans have been changed. Yeah, it happens. And it happens. That's why I always have backups. He gave me an idea, I guess, to kebab. Yeah, he had kebabs. Oh, they were so good. He had chicken and steak ones. Had some shrimp and fish ones. Oh, they were good. My dad was in heaven. Heaven. I'm only 10 minutes away from Canada. Okay. So you got the northern. You're getting that cool air coming in now. Yeah. 105 is hot. Well, that's the day that it was Tuesday. What took me down because it got up to like 101 here, and that was before the heat index. The heat index was like 104. I didn't know it. I didn't during the afternoon. I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to get stuff done. Don't they sound good? But with Eddie, with her ex, Eddie, with her new husband, my ex's wife, whatever. um, yeah, he goes to town. He gets like three grills going. He's got a smoker, the whole works. Some dirty rice. Now Edna, you sound like my son. He loves that dirty rice. He loves rice. I do too. Yeah. That sounds like a plan. Easy too. Yep. Now everybody's gonna be hungry. We're back to talking about foods. It's good to talk about food. But I haven't had much of an appetite. Last night before stream, we had Japanese. I didn't get much. I only got I got some crab ragoon and some tempura shrimp and a couple egg rolls. I wasn't really having issues swallowing, so. But the guys always let up. I'm surprised that didn't get sushi this time. Smoked brisket. I'm kind of hoping Eddie has a smoked brisket tomorrow because I could really go for some brisket. 42 quarts of chili with tomatoes. It's a lot of chili. Everybody likes kebabs. I'm sure she did. I bet you're like my ex. And then she always made a ton of tomato sauce. We had a pretty good garden going. And she'd freeze green beans, tomatoes, tomato sauce. She'd make ketchup. She'd make all kinds of stuff. We grew cabbage and everything. And she would freeze a lot of stuff, can a lot of stuff. She was good at canning. So and she always had plenty. If somebody said, I need tomatoes, I'll be right over. But you'll get it back. I really feel like one day you're going to be surprised and start noticing that, hey, this I think I can taste. Just keep your hopes up. Mm-hmm. And like I said, taste and smell are important senses. Something will adjust that in time if they don't come back. Don't make it even more joyful for you. And I noticed one person I know that lost his taste. He said it was texture. It was like everything he really didn't realize texture of things until he lost taste. We make too much on purpose and back. Yeah, see, that's what we do here. I mean, I have 3 guys here, and when I make good dinners, what I do is make a lot. My son doesn't like leftovers, but me and Pop could live off of leftovers forever. So I always make plenty, store it. I make it twice a year, but I got a lot of maters this year. Yeah, a lot of people did. They no, it's an award. Oh, I wonder if it's as good as my uncle Jim's. Shame he passed. He was the Chillicothe officer. Man, he was a cook and a half, and his chili was so was his ribs. That man had talent. My brothers and everybody that ever ate his chili were like, I know he won contests here and then policeman contests. Frozen and stuff. Some stuff is better after it's been reheated a couple times. I always thought, like beef stew and stuff always tastes better after the second and third reheating. Same thing with Hunter stew. No, she's a Northeast girl. Do you guys want me to start doing some of her missing persons older stuff too, and some of her murder mysteries stuff that she's done, serial killers and stuff like that? Because she's got some of the older stuff that she did that's pretty good. Missing 411s. She's got some of those. She's got some unsolved cases, true crime stuff. Yes, and some of those wacky murder jobs. I should say. I don't know what I can say with you too. There was one I was gonna do. Where did it go? Oh, Mary Bateman, the Witch of Yorkshire. And she did one. The first man convicted of murder in America. George Chapman. The murdered more than 400. Amelia Dreyer. Sorry about that. The one that did the little ones. I'll have to. I'll have to let Gemma know to do that one. If she hadn't already, I'll write it down. I keep pad and paper close, and then if I'll go back and make sure she hadn't already done them. I don't think she did. Oops. Can't see my late stuff. It's a classic. Yeah, I think she did do that. I'll have to go back and look. Maybe she'll do an update. Spell that right. Okay. And I'll check. She may have done those. Let me check. I'm in that section. Well, I'm on her in her library. I don't think she did these keys, but I could be wrong. She's done a lot. Her library is pretty good, and that's not even counting the ones she's got in private. Waste. Let me see. I'm looking. since I'm clear at the bottom and working my way, it may be. Does she have the story about the Bell Witch? Actually, she does. You want to watch that? I don't think it's even that long. Hold on. I just passed it. Let it go. Let it go. 1 second. I have everything scrunched down, so I have to kind of go a little slower to make sure I don't pass it. I'm back to reading ancient texts. I love reading that stuff, and there's some, and they're finding more. So keep your eyes peeled. Guests on live and talk about the different topics. Bring more traffic. That's part of her plan, Ron. She's already headed the game there. It's just it was hard for her to do this. It's her channel, not mine. And it was hard to do all that. She wanted to rock this summer, but things didn't work out. She ended up having her kid. So once third runs around next week and he gets back in settled in the school, we'll have to change things around and stuff like that. And oracles may move and stuff like that. So just bear with us. She's got all kinds of good ideas to bring in. So be prepared. So I don't mind having guests like when I was with Ryan, but I like having guests when she's here because it's her channel. And I think it's when we have guests, she should be really present. Let's see, no, where did I find that? Oh, come on. I think it's up here. I know she did it. I just didn't think it was that new. Thought it was an older one. I know. You are a family. But she wants to have guns. She's going to do a girls' night. And she expects you to be there at Pixie and everybody. Where is that? I thought that was an older video. It can't be that. Wait. Hey, Kim Cakes. How you doing, hon? Maybe it is a lot up there than I thought. I thought the Bell Witch was like one of the really first ones she did, but no. I could be wrong. Nope, she got right into it with the true crime and disappearances, and right in the Black Eyed Kids. Hold on, I want to find that. Do I have to wear a fluffy wig? Nah, you don't. But if it makes you look better, yeah. Mm-hmm. Is that? Come on. Ooh, forgive me, folks. Like I said. I mean, I hate being like this because it's just like, ugh. Yeah, as long as you look good in the mic, more power to you. I don't need a wig. I look goofy enough as it is. It's, I know she did it. I also think she did the other one too, Ayla. Yeah, Amelia, sorry. Okay, I think I am getting closer now. Yeah, she has got a lot planned for the future. Let's give her a little time to get them all initiated. She definitely we're going to concentrate on probably more lives, more interviews. Edgar Allan Poe stuff. I like Edgar Allan Poe. Here it is. You guys want to see her Blair Witch? The Truth. Yeah, this was one she did. Ah, go back. Stop. Aw, she does. She looks good. She looks better than me. But then again, I'm old. Yay. I think I'll go ahead and play this so you guys can talk a little bit, enjoy your conversation. It's the Bell Witch, not the Blair Witch. The Bell Witch. The Blair Witch. That's a whole different ball game. Well, not really. Kind of. Okay. Okay. Let me mass this out. So yeah, it was documentary. I know. I know this. I know all that. Yeah, yes, it did. Yes, it did, bro. Oh, buddy, you're not that old. Mike, you're not that old. Believe me. You're still a young man. Okay. Let me get this rocking. So we get a big share. I think your hair looks great. I like it. Yeah, it will grow out. I'll grow it out for the winter. Yeah, I will grow it out for the winter. The Blair Witch. It's just one of those fake documentary movies they did, and they did a really good job promoting it because they had all those people hide. They did the same thing when they did a Cannibal Holocaust, where all the actors stayed hiding right after the movie, so it's seemed more real. Where they kind of did the same thing with the Blair Witch. They kind of hid out. And then finally started doing interviews to let it know that it was just one of those fake mockery. Well, you know what I'm saying. Get off my lawn. Yeah, isn't that for sure? Okay, let's do this. One of the older guys told me that what hasn't been surgically removed was a story in fiction. Yes. Yes, it was. It was a what they call a fakeometry, or I'm 67, Mike. I think I was formaldehyde. That's funny. I love it. No, it's not a great ending. No, it wasn't. One of the older guys. Okay, let me start this.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, just welcome. My name is Gemma Jade, but today we are going to be talking about the Bell Witch.
Now that sounds
thank
so
you guys
much
so
better.
much for being patient with me as I got some
sounds
things done in my other office and dealing with the echo and the loud heat and all the different places I've been filming, but we're going back to normal next week, so thanks so much for hanging in there and bearing with me. Whatever I filmed today is the last of what's going to be filmed in this room for quite a while. So, as I always like to start out by saying, in this community, we cover so much of the unexplained, right? Just in general, and mainly speaking now of hauntings in particular, there are so many that are almost unfathomable. And at the end of the day, no matter how many supposed facts or what credible evidence we come across or discuss in these videos, they leave us scratching our heads and wonder, could something like this have really happened? Did something like this really happen? What's the meaning behind it? Why did it happen? And why did it happen to the people that it happened to? There are some that just really stay with us and stick in our memory, haunting us by popping up in our thoughts when awake, daydreams and nightmares alike. Just the mere mention of the case or some part of it brings with it an overwhelming sense of fear, evil, and even sometimes an unshakable dread. Mysterious Universe describes it as, quote, a profoundly menacing haunting carried out by some wicked unknown thing that has gone on to be one of the most famous ghostly encounters in American history, end quote. Some would say that that last part is debatable, but I don't think so. Many people, both recently and far into the past of YouTube, have covered the case of the Bell Witch. I pride myself, however, on bringing you all the whole, ugly, uncut, and raw truth of the situation. The real, capital REAL story. So buckle in as we take a nosedive right into the ugliness and depths of the abyss. Let's see what we come up with. In 1804, a farmer named John William Bell, along with his wife Lucy, moved onto some land in a very rural part of northern Tennessee, specifically Robertson County. Back then, though, it was called the Red River and would become the town of Adams. The humble farmer and his faithful wife worked the land themselves and would eventually go on to have 8 kids. God bless them. For years, the family lived in peace. They lived a simple and happy life with 8 healthy kids and happy, lovingly committed parents. They wanted for nothing more, and they seemingly had it all as far as rural farmers and their farms and families went back then. However, 13 years after they acquired and moved onto the land, some very strange things started happening. Where did it come from? Why had it chosen this particular and seemingly normal, happy, well-adjusted family? What did it want? Whatever the answers to these questions are, we may never know, but what I do know is that it would change the lives of every single one of the Bells forever. And in the world of the paranormal and hauntings, it would change the way we all looked at things once we heard the sinister tale. Again, depending on what you believe, but it seemingly all started one night when John was out for a walk around the property. He normally took walks around just to kind of clear his head, get some fresh country night air, I guess, when he saw what he described as a large dog-like creature with a rabbit's head lurking around his farm, seemingly trying to stay in the shadows. So startled was John Bell that he fired on the strange beast without hesitation. As the shot apparently hit it, though, it didn't fall to the ground and die. It wasn't even injured, or at least as far as he could see, because it just disappeared. In the next few weeks, the slaves on the property would tell the Bells they were seeing this gigantic black dog on the farm, simply roaming around ominously and then disappearing into thin air again when it realized it had been spotted. One of them even claimed that the creature had followed him around for an entire day as he went about his work in chores. These weren't the only odd entities that were spotted in, near, and around the Bell farm at this time either. The family and slaves both reported seeing a lot of other things, and I'll name some of them here, but the list was like massive. So there were things such as a huge and dreadful looking bird that gave off a more creepy than dangerous vibe. A young girl dressed in green was seen swinging from a tree branch by one of the Bell children, their daughter Elizabeth, whom most called Betsy. While this may seem terrifying enough to most of us, it wasn't by any stretch the only odd and frightening things happening on the Bell farm or in the farmhouse at this time. The family and the farmhouse began to be engulfed up to their ears, so to speak, in other forms of paranormal activity as well. Like with almost all hauntings, it started with the small stuff, things moving from where they were always kept and reappearing somewhere else just minutes or seconds later, strange noises that seemed to come from nowhere and definitely somewhere all at once. Things going bump and bang in the night, and an oppressive feeling of thickness in the air started to make the family feel claustrophobic in their already crowded home. Remember, there were 10 people in this farmhouse, and it was actually referred to oftentimes as a hut. They couldn't quite put their finger on that last part, though, but being who I am and knowing what I know, it's a terrible feeling that, along with everything else, kept the family awake most nights. After a short while, though, the activity became more menacing, with the sounds of chains rattling and a woman's disembodied voice laughing or singing being heard constantly. Try as they may, neither the bells nor their slaves could ever find the source of any of the sounds. This is probably due to the fact that things like this come from unknown realms, places unknown to most of us at least, or at least those among us who are, or at least feel, blessed. The disturbances got louder and louder as each night passed, and eventually it all heightened in intensity and terror. It became a full-blown haunting by something evil, menacing, and possibly even demonic. Blankets were pulled off of beds immediately after they were made, or even while someone was lying under them. Objects, both small and large, inexplicably flew across the house and continued to be hidden and moved all over the place. Some of these things were done with such violent force it angered more than scared some of the men in the family. The Bells, unfortunately, had no clue what it was they were dealing with here, and this is most likely the reason for what unfortunately happened next. Aside from things being knocked and even smacked out of people's hands, there began to be violent physical assaults on family members. Just like with the haunting in the first place, it started off as slight shoves and pushes, but very quickly escalated to hard pinches, punches, kicks, and slaps. It was as though an actual human being were there instead of some unseen phantom or force beating the crap out of anyone that it came into contact with. After all, how can you fight back when you cannot even see or even sense your opponent? The entity would pull hair, leave welts, scratches, scrapes, and giant painful bruises as evidence of its assaults. All of the family members were targeted at one point or another, but it seemed as though poor Betsy got the brunt of the abuse and the harassment. At one point, she even began to be stuck with tiny pins all over her body, on top of the frequent major injuries she would suffer from all of the violence aimed at her from this apparition or this force. The only person this entity, or whatever you want to call it, would leave alone, and who was never really attacked or hurt in any way, or really even bothered at all, was little Lucy Bell. It seemed that whatever this thing was, it was indifferent, or even, if you really think about what was happening to everyone else, friendly towards her. Most of us can imagine how it was back in those days, especially in rural farmlands and small towns. It wasn't really a good thing to be talking in public or even outside of your family, unless you wanted to be shunned or possibly lose your life, about hauntings. So John Bell at first tried to do the rational and seemingly most safe thing to do and keep all that was happening inside of his home right there, inside his home and within his own family. However, it all became so horrifying, the aggression and violence constantly aimed at him and his family, he finally decided they had no choice but to look elsewhere for help for his terrified family. It was absolutely relentless, and though some might think it unwise, I am sure he thought he was doing what was best for his family. One of the first people he went to was a neighbor of theirs named James Johnson. It said that Mr. Johnson had witnessed some of the phenomenon with his own eyes while visiting John and the family. James thought that the entity, whatever it was, had to be intelligence to be able to carry out such relentless and calculating attacks on so many people for such a long period of time. He thought for sure if spoken to and given the chance to speak back, the entity would respond and perhaps explain itself. He thought for sure if spoken to and given the chance to speak back, the entity would respond and perhaps explain itself. He also figured they could find out who this quote-unquote ghost was, and then the family could make whatever amends or do whatever was necessary to get rid of or at least placate it, to make whatever they had done to wrong it right, in other words. Back then, when things like this happened, people believed it was always the fault of the person or people experiencing the phenomenon, and there was almost no room for persuasion otherwise. I just want to mention here quick that this guy had the idea that whatever this was still had some humanity. And I say that not because of anything I've read or any evidence I've found, but simply because it seems he thought that by speaking to who or whatever this was, they would do the polite thing to do and not only speak back, but properly introduce itself or themselves. This absolutely blows my mind. But then again, not everyone has seen or been through what we in this community have. It seems, though, despite how unbelievable it seemed to me in the beginning, the Bells were being haunted by at least one entity who was willing to converse with them. In fact, this female entity was quite the gossip. Some would even say she was a chatterbox, as she constantly and randomly, at all hours of the day and night, began to give long sermons from the Bible, and would even blather and gossip about what all of the neighbors were saying and doing behind closed doors. She would mimic people's voices, anyone known to the Bells at this time. She would do this perfectly, and there was no way to ever distinguish between when the entity was calling you or the actual person who was so beautifully mimicking. Finally, the spirit introduced herself as Kate Batts, a known and self-proclaimed witch. Kate Batts had been a neighbor of the Bells in life and had sworn to haunt and hunt them down for perceived slights they performed against her in life. I'm not sure exactly what all these slights were, but we all have had or have a neighbor like this, even at one point in our lives, right? One of the things she was so pissed about and out for revenge for was some dealing she had over a slave with the Bells, where she felt she was given a raw deal. This woman was both in death and life cruel, malicious, and relentless, and attached herself to the Bell family like some sort of leech or parasite. Despite learning all of this about the apparition of the witch, there was no stopping or even slowing down the haunting. In fact, once she made herself known, she seemed to take even more pleasure in instigating her vicious and often brutal attacks on the family, with Betsy still receiving the worst of it. She became more aggressive as time wore on, and the Bells were at the end of their rope. They lived in constant fear and terror, never knowing what was going to happen to who or when next. Of course, same as today, and as they do, rumors abound about the haunting of the Bells, and with it came a somewhat macabre and morbid curiosity throughout the neighborhood and town that the family had lived in. Thrill seekers from not only the town, but the region in general would travel for miles and miles to the Bell farm just to catch a glimpse of the family and hopefully the apparition herself. This is where the name, the Bell Witch, came from. According to almost all of the versions of this haunting I have come across and read about, so notorious would this particular haunting become that it even caught the interest of General Andrew Jackson, a man who would eventually become president. Of course, General Jackson was skeptical at first, or at least knew he had to pretend to be. I'm not sure which one. I think he actually was a real skeptic. Eventually, though, his curiosity got the better of him, and he actually ended up taking the trip to the farm himself to see firsthand what was happening there. The tale is told with the general making the trip with some friends and all of them laughing and joking along the way about what fun they would have at the expense of the Bells. They just didn't really believe in hauntings and such things and were simply out for an easy and fun adventure. Thrill seekers, if you will. Imagine their surprise when they had something quite peculiar and scary happen to them along the way. It's claimed this happened right as the group approached the farm before they even got onto the property itself. I'm going to switch for a minute and give you what I believe to be one of the most accurate accounts of what happened to the general and his friends from a book written in 1894 specifically about this case. The author is N.B. Ingram, and the title is An Authenticated History of the Famous Bell Witch. It describes the events as follows, quote, "Just then, traveling over a smooth level piece of road, the wagon halted and stuck fast. The driver popped his whip, whooped and shouted to the team, and the horses pulled with all of their might, but could not move the wagon an inch. It was dead stuck, as if welded to the earth. General Jackson commanded all men to dismount and put their shoulders to the wheels and give the wagon a push, but all in vain. It was no go. The wheels were then taken off one at a time and examined and found to be all right, revolving easily on the axles. General Jackson, after a few moments' thought, realizing that they were in a fix, threw up his hands, exclaiming, 'By the eternal, boys, it is the witch.' Then came the sound of a sharp, metallic voice from the bushes saying, quote, 'All right, General, let the wagon move on. I will see you again tonight,' end quote. The men in bewildered astonishment looked into every direction to see if they could discover from whence came the strange voice, but could find no explanation to the mystery. The horses then started unexpectedly of their own accord, and the wagon rolled along as light and smoothly as ever," end quote. Though understandably upset, Andrew Jackson still wasn't convinced anything paranormal was going on and needed to see for himself firsthand. He was a major general after all and didn't spook easily. It would take more than this to scare him off, and so he and his men proceeded. He actually ended up spending a night at the farm with the Bells, his curiosity at a peak by this point. Apparently, the witch kept her promise of seeing him again that night. According to most versions of the tale, he and the men he rode in with were importuned by the spirit. The whole night was spent with them being violently slapped, kicked, punched, pushed, and pinched. She would scream in their faces. So close was she that they could almost feel her breath in their face, only they could not see her at all.
She even went so far as to rip their blankets off of each one of the men all night long, allowing them no warmth, comfort, or peace of any kind the entire time they visited. By this time, the general was quote unquote freaked out by not only the fact that the haunting was real, but by the mere savagery of it all. He is said to have stated as he left the home, quote, "I'd rather fight the British in New Orleans than to have to fight the Bell Witch," end quote. Maybe he said this and maybe he didn't, but his visit and the terror and violence that ensued is documented fact. After Jackson, there is said to have been some unnamed Englishmen who made the long journey to America and the Bell Farm with the only goal of debunking the Bell Witch haunting altogether. He was a staunch skeptic, unswayable, unmovable, obviously, and he too got a lot more than he bargained for this time. The Bell Witch was true to form and wasted no time, as it's reported that the first night the man was there, she started harassing him and the family by perfectly mimicking his voice. Her accent in mimicking him and the pitch were dead on, and there was no way for even the man to be able to tell the difference. Side note, I just want to explain, as someone who has dealt with this a lot in my life, it's extremely eerie and creepy when a spirit mimics a living person, and they often do this as a lure. They may use your young child's voice to get you into the basement or deeper into the woods, or simply mimic a woman screaming in the woods behind your house. It allows them to take on a bit of your essence as well, and in almost all cases, if not all actually, a spirit of light and peace would have no need to do something like this. So after this man finally fell asleep for the night, he went running and screaming out of the farmhouse as soon as the sun was up, after the witch started mimicking not only the man, but his parents as well. His parents were back in England, and while I don't know if they were alive or deceased, this seems to have pushed the man over the edge of belief, as he figured there was no way the Bells could have faked this, for how in the world would they have known exactly what his parents' voices sounded like? And that's kind of one of the most reasonable thoughts any of these skeptics have had so far, right? Before the man left, though, he did apologize to the Bells for not believing them and for coming there with such doubt that his intentions were to debunk the haunting and make fools of them with exposure. This haunting, seemingly only by the entity claiming to be the witch, would go on for years. It seems to me that this was not the Bells' old ornery neighbor with an axe to grind at all, due to the reports of the creatures, hellhounds, and other various beasties originally spotted. I think this could very well have been what they called back then witch, only in the sense that whatever it was seemed to be from the very depths of the abyss and bowels of hell. Anyways, the haunting would get increasingly violent, and there was eventually almost never a moment of peace for the family, like no peace at all. It came to a head when John Bell suddenly fell into a coma and eventually died in December of 1820. Just 3 years after the haunting had begun and 16 years after moving onto the property in the first place. Presumably the stress of it all cost John Bell his life, or that's what it seems like. It's alleged by most authors and historians alike that a bottle of poison was found right next to his unresponsive and nameless body. Others say the bottle was found in the family's medicine cabinet, but by all accounts, one thing almost everyone will agree on is that the witch would gloat cheerfully and with a sickening glee about her voice that she spoon-fed John the poison herself while he slept, and it had the desired effect in the end. It killed him. At John's funeral, the witch continued her assault on him and his family. She relentlessly cackled and giggled maniacally. She even was heard singing with joy and happiness in her tone all throughout the funeral. She apparently did this in front of all of the guests as well, and she appeared to them. They all not only heard but saw this evil thing as it tormented the family in their time of great mourning and grief. After this, there was the issue of Betsy's fiance running off on her and canceling the engagement and wedding. The Bell Witch took great pride in the role she claimed to have played in that situation. She would tell anyone who would listen how she tormented the poor guy Betsy was engaged to. His name was Joshua Gardner, and she said she had cursed him with a never-ending feeling of, quote, a sharp stick in the mouth, end quote, which caused him constant and unending attacks of choking. Right after the disintegration of the pending marriage, the witch was seemingly satisfied with the damage she had done and the insurmountable pain, terror, and horror she had caused this family and anyone in her general vicinity. She announced that she would be going away then, but only for a little while, as in 7 years' time she proclaimed she would return to continue her egregious attacks on this poor family. True to her word, all of the paranormal activity in, near, and around the Bells in their farm stopped, only to recommence in 1928, exactly 7 years after she appeared before them and promised the 7 years of peace. In 1928, it seems as though the witch was perhaps bored with these people, at least in my opinion, because she only stayed a brief, though very unwelcome, stint with them that time. She terrorized them a bit, but mostly made horrific and horrifying predictions about what was to come of each member of the family in the near and distant future. Before leaving this time, she stated she would again appear in 1935, though no one knows if she kept that particular promise. Just because it seems as though she stopped haunting the bells, that by no means meant the end of her reign of terror. This is where we get into the heart of the legends surrounding this very real and factually backed up case. It's claimed that the witch never actually went away and instead took up residence in a cave nearby the Red River, which was in close proximity to the Bells farmhouse. This place is said to also be on Native American burial ground of all things, and the witch allegedly still makes her home there to this day. This is just some of the countless things that are said to have happened to people in this area, or even to those who were brave enough to encroach on the witch's turf. People have claimed to have heard evil cackling and laughing, rasping, moaning, and even wheezing. There are reports of a sinister voice of an old woman calling to them from the darkness of the cave and surrounding areas at night. People who were said to have been in the area either looking for a thrill or innocently roaming around have claimed to have been punched, pinched, kicked, slapped, smacked, and even had their hair pulled, as so often had happened to Betsy Bell. This is actually said to still be happening in and around the area of the cave. The more extreme phenomenon reported are people being paralyzed and frozen in place, unable to move, and feeling as though some massive weight had been dropped on them, or being squeezed to the point of not being able to breathe, like a vice grip being wrapped around their chests and bodies. There are still to this day reports of a haggard-looking old woman roaming around the woods, and that cave over there near the Red River, it's said to have even regular woodland animals like deer and squirrels who can't be seen or found in and around that particular area. There's a rather notorious legend. Well, the Bell Witch herself is indeed a rather notorious legend, but this one seemingly and sometimes more so. Legend has it that if you take anything from the cave she is said to reside in, even a small twig or pebble, you'll be sorry. It's said that if you quote-unquote steal from her cave, you will be haunted, have a run of terrible bad luck and misfortune, and or you could even possibly die. Almost every single account I've come across and that are told about this haunting has the witch being a violent and malevolent, hell-bent on hurting and tormenting humans. However, there is at least one story of a little child being saved by the witch when he or she fell into the cave and was almost stuck there. It said this entity, or the witch, helped the child back out of the cave and led it on its way back to where it could be found safely. She's said to not only have pulled the little kid out, but to have also lectured him or her about safety and gave tips on how to explore the cave without getting lost, stuck, or hurt. The cave itself and the Old Bell Farm are still there and no doubt attract thrill seekers from all over the world. People hoping and kind of hoping not to catch a glimpse of the Old Bell Witch. Though the witch is said to reside in the area of the Red River in this cave and surrounding areas, it's also said by many that there's still something evil lurking about in the shadows on the land where the Bell Farm was. There's something else there besides the self-proclaimed witch who seems to have lost interest in the family so long ago. As I said in the beginning, I believe this entity chose the form of the Bell's old neighbor and proclaimed itself a witch, as that was just one of the most feared things of that day. If I ever had to call it out or even just speculate, though, I think it's something nameless and ancient, a being from before time itself, evil toward and jealous of us and our humanity. We may never know what this thing was or even why it chose the bells to haunt in the first place. What do you guys think in the comments? I heard from a friend who's from this area that there's even a game played where instead of looking in the mirror and calling for Bloody Mary, they instead state, quote, "I don't believe in the Bell Witch," end quote, and she's supposed to show herself and possibly attack the poor, unsuspecting person who had the nerve to challenge whether or not she existed. If you're feeling brave enough, then go ahead and visit. You can take a tour of not only the cave, but an exact replica of the Old Bell cabin. The latter even has some of the original, real items that were in the home when the family was alive and dealing with all of this. I can go on and on with this case, and maybe I'll revisit it at some point as I'm actually still researching, but for some reason, and I have no clue why, I've gotten like 20 emails and messages of people, of you guys, begging me to do a video on this. It's weird. Ever since a few nights ago, I've been asked to tell the quote-unquote real story to the best of my research and ability, so here it is. I've got to please the masses. I've got to please you guys. That's all I have for you today, guys. Please be sure and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed spending this time with me, again, thank you so much for your patience with all of the echoing and everything else going on. These are the last of the videos though, so that's good news. Subscribe if you haven't already and spread the love by sharing this video. Please go on over to Moon Bear Oracle and subscribe over there as well. That's my other channel. Very slow startup, but we're going to get somewhere, I promise. Also, I'm head writer for Missing Persons and Mysteries channel, the one.
Okay. Yeah, we got two in tonight. I can't complain about that. Thanks for bearing with me, folks. Like I said, hopefully by Wednesday, this will be much better. I do want to talk to you about thing on the neighbor's deck. Thinking back, it did seem shocked I could see it. He tilted his head. Yeah. You know how many times that I have seen not as much the people, things that followed the people, but things like in passing, like standing out of the blue, not with another person. You know what I'm saying, right? Like I walk by a house that's up the street, and there's always a shadow standing on the front porch. And I've lived in this neighborhood all my life, but I don't know of any story about this house. But the shadow stands every couple months. I see it standing on the front porch, and a couple times as I drove by or walked by, I could see it tilt its head like it could see me. So I know that feeling. I do know that feeling. So yeah, we can talk about that. Email me, okay? I actually, yeah, just email me. I'm kind of stuck in the house the next couple of days, so you know you're not going to have to wait too long for an email. But yeah, I've had that happen many times. In my opinion, if you challenge a spirit like that, it could, yes, but sometimes it don't even take that. Um, in in some Asian culture, like Chinese and some Japanese, they what they do is they literally curse at the spirit, call it names, call it out. So, but yeah, you can upset it and it will attach itself to you. You can see the folds in the cloth. I've been in this situation. You definitely email. See, on the thing on the porch, I get no vibe from either. Um, and I believe that's because we weren't meant to feel that vibe. It's meant for something else. It's not just because it may see us. We're just like, when you pass somebody by us, when we just kind of see somebody out of the corner. Sometimes I think that's the way it is for them too. These things, I think sometimes they catch us out of the corner of the eye. And no rush, but I'm stuck inside for a while. So yeah, just give me yell anytime, huh? Kids think it's funny, but it is dangerous. Yes, it is dangerous. I won't expect too much, Edna, because it is a holiday weekend. So just enjoy your time with your family. That's number one. I mean, other than tomorrow, I should be here. And we probably won't be over at the Exodus for too long. Yeah, usually if you don't have fear or something like that, Edna, when you see it, you weren't meant to fear it. You probably weren't meant to see it, which is a lot of cases. Well, you were meant to see it for your own personal. There's a reason why you were meant to see it, but it wasn't. It doesn't know that. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of confusing, I guess. I don't know. It's hard. But yeah, I always counted it, if I didn't have fear or any kind of feelings from something I saw, always counted it as that's a good thing, and it probably wasn't. I wasn't really meant to see it, but there was reason to see it. Yeah, my pop's been rough too. Just found out a nephew's got cancer. One of my brother's kids. Pop, like I said, he's been having some issues. I had a passing friend take his life again. Another one. I got friends all of a sudden dropping like flies. Plus family. And our brother had a heart attack. Didn't tell us till after the fact. I don't want to start seeing this crap. Actually, Edna, with all this newfound, now that you're starting to understand, it's going to probably be more frequent. Just don't let it scare you. A lot of it will be what I call in passing. That kind of encounter is what I call just a passing encounter. There's a big chance you'll never see that again, because there's things that I've never ever seen again. Saw it once and that was it. And I know you do. It's just, honey, this state of the world has taken a toll on a lot of people. And there is literally a war, atheist or not, whatever you believe, there is literally a war right now for our souls. I don't care what anybody says. I really believe that's happening. We're being we're slowly being forced to pick sides. At this point in my life, I'm not. A lot can shock me, and that's the whole point, Edna. You now, like I said, you're coming into everything. It's going to take a lot to shock you. There will be their moments, because there's still stuff that shock me and kind of freak me out at times. But go with it. And like I said, a lot of those encounters I call passing encounters. It's like I've seen this, and there's things, like I said, I've seen once and never seen them again. The only thing I've seen now that's twice is some of the things I see following people. There seem to be like certain creatures that attach to certain types of people. And the Hat Man. I never thought I would see him for the second time. And it was weird the second time because I saw him in the grocery store, saw what I saw, and I haven't seen him since. And I felt like it was a warning, or something. But I haven't seen him since that time. And I really expected to start seeing him around that lady, but nope. And she's still there. I still see her. I mean, this lady works every day. Thank you, Pammy. But it's been opposite for me. I've been getting blessings all over the place, and that's a good thing. Take them, honey. You deserve them. They'll be given to you for a reason. Bask in the glory. Seriously. And use it to your advantage, because it's being done. You're being blessed like that for a reason. And you're passing that blessing on if you're aware of it or not. Because you are passing your blessings on. Way up in New Hampshire. Sorry, Mike, I missed that first. Got a Labor Day pop out to go to on Monday. I may be 1/8. Oh, there you go. The Indian Historical Association since I've lived. Cool. Way up in North Hampshire. Did Vixen still around? Did she leave? Nah, she'd be interested in that. My niece. But I'm the type that would comfort. See, sometime, but I'm the type that would comfort the thing following someone. Sometimes not that easy. Confront. Believe me, I've tried that. You saw the bruises I got one day doing that, but it actually confronted me. So you got to be careful doing that. It's all of us. We love you too, Pammy. Yeah, it might have. I mean, I know she gets tired. And she might be checking out something or doing something. I'm good with that. People come and go. But she may be listening. Sometimes she listens. Down his circle dance. Yes, she might have left. I know there's other people streaming late at night. And that's okay. Lots of energy, yes. Circle dancing is amazing. I asked Pop if he would go out and do a rain dance for us today, because it's amazing. I mean, every store that came through Ohio literally went around us. When I thought that I read thing in my dream, fought the thing in my dream, I seemed real as real. Then I woke up, and I've had a couple of dreams like that, like the angel, the lady in the light fighting that demon, and the clap of thunder when God said, stop. I mean, everybody in the house heard that thunder. Everybody heard it. Everybody felt it. It was so weird. And I woke up sitting on the edge of the bed crying. I mean, it was so real that everybody heard it. I mean, what the heck? You see, you guys are keeping all the stuff. It's like it literally went around us. Right now it's raining in Ohio, but everything is just literally just south of where I'm at. We really could use it right here in Central Ohio. Big time. What time we got? I don't want to push myself too much yet. We'll go longer. If you guys are okay with it, I'll take it to about 2:30. Yes, that is validation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some, I'm telling you, some of these storms are insane. I mean, even the little ones have been packing a punch. We really could use the rain. I mean, I'm watching some major stuff go around me. Yeah, because everybody heard it. It was weird, Edna. It was so weird. Because, I mean, my door literally, boom, stop it, boom. And I opened my eyes. I'm on the edge of the bed. My dad and son literally opened my, did you hear that? I felt it. Is it thundering out there? It's not, my window was open. It wasn't doing nothing. It was a clear night. I love my rain stick. It is my big magical box. Man, bring it here because we could use it. It's 2 a.m. Get some rest. Yeah, I'm thinking about calling it here in a minute. And I want to thank again everybody for coming in. I missed you guys the last 2 nights, my nights. It's just the way it is for me sometimes. But I always try to be here because there's been times I've been here too that I wasn't good at all. But I had to. It's just, I'm starting to feel more. I feel, like I said, up here I'm great. This just giving me a hassle. So everything start to kick in. Sometimes, like I said, it takes a day. Sometimes it takes a few. Yeah. You have a rain stick too? Maybe I should find me a rain stick because we need it. I've never seen anything like it where all these storms for the last 3 days have gone completely around us. I mean, we always said that 270C, Columbus is in the middle of the state, and we literally have an outer belt that's like a circle around Columbus, and we call it the bubble. And a lot of times, if storms get through, they're wicked or real hot. I mean, they're bad, even snowstorms. But most of the times, it's like it hits that outer belt, edge of that outer belt, and then goes around us. It's weird. I always make fun of it. Good night, Mike. You have a blessed one too, sir. Behave over the weekend, Mr. Behold. Have a wonderful Labor Day. Enjoy your cookouts. Put that rain stick to work, please. Please take care of yourself. Hopefully I'll see you Wednesday. But you'll be at work, so do you go back Tuesday or do you have to work Monday, Mike? Or did you answer that already? Anyways, have a good Labor Day. Have a good rest of a day. Be blessed too, sir. Tuesday? That's awesome. So you got your 4-day weekend? I always liked it when I got my 4-day weekend. And by that time, I was getting paid for the holiday, so it made it even nicer. Have a good one, Mike. Sleep well. And be safe. And I think I am going to call it, but just taking an item to scan out of that small metal baggie, and luckily I wasn't touching anything. Tough going back. Yeah, it's going to be, but you got to do what you got to do. I know. Blessing to you, sir. Blessing to you too, sir. Have a good one, Mr. Behold. And you don't ever have to tone it down. Have a good one. And I think I am going to call it a night. I'm starting to feel it now. Yes, you are, Pam. You are lucky. I've been zapped too many. Me and electricity don't do too good together. I've been zapped too many times. But everybody, have a wonderful Sunday. Thanks for everybody showing up and ghosting. You can tell I've been through a rough time, rough week. And I'm, like I said, I'm great mentally. Have a good Sunday. Have a wonderful Labor Day. I will see you guys Wednesday I'm going to be here Wednesday. Do or die this time. Hopefully in a better voice. Because sometimes I notice after these long periods, sometimes my voice actually changes. We'll see. Have a wonderful one, folks. I can't say it 5 times. I love you all. Thank you for ghosting. Thank you for hanging out. Those who watch replay, thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed the replays tonight. I love you all. Much love to you guys. Edna and Pancakes and Mike and Latro and Ron and Nightmare and all you folks, Vixen, you guys, everybody that's been in and out tonight, have a wonderful one. Love you guys. Be safe. Much love. I'll see you on the flip side, hopefully soon.